How was your day today?
My day today was another day today.
Good.
The meeting's pretty much half of the day. Otherwise, it wasn't too bad.
Good. So, did you get to listen to the feed?
I did. The whole thing.
The whole thing?
The whole thing.
Did you listen to it all at once, or did you have to break it up?
No, I listened to the whole thing all at once. I got down. I think I missed about the last 2 minutes after y'all finally pretty much wrapped up on it.
Okay.
But the rest of it, I think it was about 40 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you didn't hear the complete ending?
The very ending? No, I heard that the resolution y'all came to, but I stopped after that.
Okay. So you heard when she said she had a different perspective?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Mm-hmm. So this is what I'm going to do. I want to get your general feedback.
Uh-huh.
And then I'm going to ask you some questions about it, and then we're going to keep going. So, can you just tell me what your general perspective of what you heard? What did you think about what you heard?
Well, what I got from it was this. The way you sound like when you were saying it sounded like you felt like you discriminated against the guy. All right? But the way it was described, it didn't sound like a discrimination. It sounded like a choice. So the question is, which is it?
Okay, so which was it to you? Was it a discrimination or was it a preference?
Well, see, that's just it. I can't tell you that. And the reason, you want me to tell you why?
Sure.
Okay. If you look at discrimination and preference, it's basically two sides of the same coin. They're both about choice. One is just a choice without malice, and one's a choice with malice. So without knowing what you actually felt and what you thought deep down inside, I can't answer that.
But I explained what I thought and what I felt deep down inside.
No, you didn't.
I was very clear with what I thought.
No, you said you felt like you discriminated.
Well,
but then again, you said it felt like it's a choice. So which was it?
Well, I knew it was a choice because it was a physical therapy clinic. And I know that they're okay with that being a preference and not necessarily discrimination. But I was clear when I said I'm kind of black and white. I think discrimination is discrimination, whether it's acceptable or not. So if you make a choice, a discrimination is treating someone different based on primarily their sex, their religion, and their skin color primarily.
It's a choice based on a malice of one of those things, one or all of those things. But it's still a choice.
Sure, it's a choice. So it's a thin line. That's why I was clear. I said it's a form. Sure. It's a form. It's a form of demonstration. It's not discrimination in the first degree. But if I decided I'm not going to have this guy massage me because this person, if I decide I'm not going to have this person provide me with the service that they offer because of his gender, that's discrimination. No?
Well, it depends on what you feel about that.
Well,
is that a choice based on some malice towards this person, or is it a choice based on I'm just not comfortable?
Right, but what I'm trying to do also, part of the reason I'm doing these series and having this quest to talk is I'm trying to get rid of my feelings. When you say what I feel, then that changes the whole game. I'm trying to base this on principles. And the principle.
You can't, because a feeling is a part of what you're doing. Okay? Again, when you felt like a discrimination, then you had a malice. That's a feeling and a choice. If you just chose not to, then there's no malice in that.
I get that. But you remember I started out the conversation saying based on the principles. I'm trying to remove my feelings. And that's what
Well, I'm saying you cannot do that because feeling is the basis of this whole thing. Discrimination is based in feelings, not in principle.
Well, there's similarities, but there's definitely a difference. Is there?
Right.
So
the discrimination itself is definitely based on a feeling. It's how you feel about somebody. Or something.
Well, the feeling and whether or not you discriminate are two different things. So let me just ask you this question. Is there a difference between preference and discrimination? Yes or no?
Yes, there is.
Okay. So there's a thin line between so there are some similarities, but
let me say it like this. Preference can be based on discrimination. Preference does not necessarily have to stand on its own.
I get it. Okay. Do you know what the current law says about discrimination?
Okay, now, here's the thing. Again, is there malice or no malice? That's the only difference. The only difference.
Well, if this person is qualified to perform this service,
yes,
and I decide that I don't want him based on his gender, that's because he's a male.
For what reason are you basing that you don't want him to massage you?
I said because he's a male.
Well, I understand that, but there's more to it than that. You just walk in and say, hey, the guy's a male. I don't want it.
Well, I originally said
about the male that you don't want or don't like or don't prefer.
Because because of how I feel about it. My feelings is overtaking the circumstance.
Boom. There you go. Back to the feeling. That's what I said.
Well,
it's about feeling.
Okay, I get that, but my feelings are not supposed to dominate my my interactions. My feelings are not supposed to take over, especially.
Oh, yeah, sure, no, definitely. Feelings are one of the leading indicators or motivators about how you do things. If you don't feel good about something, you most likely less likely want to do it.
So
you may do it, but you're not likely to want to do it.
So at what point does principle play a role?
Well, the principle comes into play when you come to the point where you actually make a decision and you make it known, and a person interprets it a certain way. You could say to somebody, I don't want you to take care of me because you're not comfortable with them. But they might perceive it to be, oh, you don't want me because I'm white or because I'm black or because I'm tall or short or whatever. That's a perception on their part.
But I was specific. I specifically had on my profile that I don't want a male. So
Right.
he didn't have
Absolutely.
to guess. So when I got
Right.
there, I said in the hallway, I'm sorry, sir, no disrespect to you, but I'm not comfortable with this.
Okay, let's go back. Why go to the hallway? When he came out there, that was the point that you had stopped us right there.
Well,
I'm sorry. I'm looking for, I said I didn't want a male. Nothing to do with you. I'm just not comfortable with that. And it's in my profile. Stop. Don't even go down the hall. Don't go to the room. Don't do any of that because you said you want to go to the room and then tell him. No, tell him when he first walks out. End of story.
okay. So then is that a form of discrimination?
It can be perceived to be, but what's in your heart?
My heart is I chose to not have him because he was a male, and that is discrimination. I discriminated
If you
because
want to call it that, if you feel like, if you felt a malice towards this guy, I just don't like you, you're a male, don't come near me, that's discrimination.
well, that's pretty much what I said.
Or not. It might be, I don't want you, I'm not comfortable with you. Don't bother me.
Right, but
Okay? And I'm mad because A, I'm having a bad day, and B, it's in my profile, and C, they send you out here.
right. But the point I'm trying to make is if I refuse his service or refuse that service on the grounds that he is a male, that is clearly enough reason to say I discriminated simply because of what the definition of discrimination means. Do you know what the definition of discriminate? Did you look it up in the
Yes,
the
I did.
And if I make a choice based on gender, then it's considered discrimination according to the definition.
According to the definition, but is that what really happened?
Well, if we're looking at the
We can
principles,
define anything as anything. I mean, you can. It's like numbers. You can make numbers say tell any story you want. Okay, you're saying, yeah, it was discrimination. Okay, if you feel in your heart you discriminated, then you did. Plain and simple.
well, whether I'm trying to remove the feelings out of the way.
Okay. All right.
So
if you think you discriminated, then you did.
I'm trying to remove my thoughts out of the way.
All right. So what are we going to base this on? A whim, magic, or what?
On the principles.
These are feelings, thoughts, and actions are what things are based on.
So then if that's the case, then there's no reason for principles then.
That's not what I said.
I didn't say you said it, but because you said it.
Principles come into play when you talk about with how you deal with a situation and how things are perceived and how things are dealt with. Okay? If the guy comes back at you and says, hey, that's discrimination, okay? That is, the principle there is that he's going to say that you did this, you did this, you did this, because he perceived that way. Now, on the other hand, the guy might think, okay, I've had other customers that say they prefer a female. End of story.
But I am not debating that. What I'm debating,
Okay, what is it you're debating?
I'm debating the fact that I decided to renege the professional service that they offered me. I refused it on the basis that a male was providing it.
No, you refused it on the principle that that's not what you asked for.
Okay, that is not what I asked for, but my reason
That's
for
right.
not. Okay, hold on a second. You're right. I'm not debating that. My reason for asking for not having a male was for not wanting a male is what?
It's your comfortability with female.
Okay. So with that being said, if I decide to refuse service because someone is a male, that falls in line with discrimination.
If you want to say that.
But if not, what if I don't want to say it? I'm looking at the principle. The principle definition says if I make a decision, if I treat someone a certain way based on their gender, that's considered discrimination.
Here's the point. What you're doing is you're distilling a whole situation down into what seems to be the simplest form, and you can't do that. Because in this case, you have to look at all the factors, and you're not doing that. You're trying to make a plain case for yes, discrimination, not discrimination, but that's not the issue. Okay? The whole basis of this whole argument is what you say is principle. And that principle is you pay for a service, and you pay for a service a particular way. They didn't provide that. And on principle, you can refuse that, not discriminating, just because this is what I asked for, this is what I paid for.
Okay. So you don't think I discriminated?
No.
And I didn't discriminate. Why?
Because that's not what you paid for.
But the reason...
And you made it specifically, and you said in your profile it says what you prefer, right?
Of course. I have...
Okay, so based... I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay. I'm aware that they allow for discrimination at this establishment. I'm aware that they allow for it. I'm aware that I had the opportunity to make my choice. Mm-hmm. I'm aware of that. Mm-hmm. But I am saying to you that I'm trying to be black and white, and I'm trying to be principle based. Okay? Now, I know I had a choice, and I know that they didn't give me my choice, but I'm starting a step below that. My reason for refusing the service that they provided was strictly because of the gender that they provided.
Okay. And based on that also followed that you had asked them to not give you a male.
I understand that. That's not what
because that is your overall preference. It's not like you came in there all of a sudden and said, well, hey, look here, I don't want no male coming in because they didn't give you a choice. They said, hey, here's masseuse. Boom, boom, boom. Now you look at the guy and go, no, that's discrimination. But you clearly stated what you wanted.
Okay, let me just try to back up again, because I hear what you're saying, and I'm not confused by what you're saying. Okay, this is what I'm hearing. Okay, I'm aware that they allow for discrimination.
That's not discrimination. They allow for choice, preference. Go ahead.
Okay, so tell me what you think the definition of discrimination is.
Like I said before, when you make a choice based on malice.
Well, the word. Okay, hold on a second. Are you basing that on how you feel or the definition in the dictionary?
I'm basing this on the definition.
Okay, do you have a definition in front of you right now?
I don't right at the minute, but I can get one.
Let's do that.
Yeah, let us do that. My friend. Let's see, where's mine? Come on.
Okay, I found it.
Mm-hmm.
You want me to read it for you?
Go ahead.
Discrimination. It's a noun. The unjust or prejudicial, I can't pronounce that word.
Treatment of different categories of people or things, especially on the grounds of race, sex, age, or sex.
Okay, we got the same. How do you pronounce that word? Prejudicial. All right, good. I got it. Okay, so it's unjust, and it's especially based on race, age, or sex, correct?
It doesn't say especially, but it says, yeah, you're not, especially, you're right. Mm-hmm.
Especially on the grounds of race, age, and sex. So.
Right. And religion is also in there. It's not in here, but religion, same thing.
Well, we know what we're talking about. It's still based on things that people can't help or can't change or their preferences.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what I did was I refused the service they offered because he was a male, and that would fall under that definition of sex. So if I made that choice and that was a unjust treatment, because let me tell you why it's unjust. It's unjust because he went to school, he studied just like the females did.
Yeah.
He was hired by them and he's qualified and certified. So it is unjust that I would see him and because of his gender, turn him away. That definition clearly says if I turn him away, I treat him different because of his sex, then that's discrimination. So I want you to now explain to me, unless you are looking at the definition and agreeing that it is definitely a form of discrimination, even if it's a soft form or even if it's acceptable and can be hidden behind preference. Based on this definition.
Let's go with definition number 2 in your case. It's the recognition and understanding of the difference between one thing and another. So you're discriminated in the fact between male and female, as in discriminating taste, not necessarily discriminating as far as bigotry or prejudice.
So now you're justifying it because of the second definition?
The second definition.
I see it, but how? Explain to me how that says I'm not discriminating because of his sex. When the first,
it wasn't because it wasn't a prejudicial decision.
Right, but
if you were showing a prejudice, then that's another thing.
Right.
If you were not showing prejudice, you were showing discrimination. Then that's another thing.
Right.
If you were not showing prejudice, you were showing discrimination. Then that's another thing.
Right.
If you were not showing prejudice, you were showing discrimination. I want that as opposed to this.
Okay, well, that's what discrimination is. I discriminated because of his gender, because of his sex.
But was there prejudice in that?
Yes, there was.
Okay, well, then you discriminated.
Okay, and it was also, do you understand why it was unjust?
Yeah. Well, no, it's not. It's not unjust. It's from the standpoint of what you chose to do. It's unjust from the standpoint that it was prejudicial. You had a prejudice against the guy. Unjust, unfair, for no reason. So
No. The reason, I did have a reason. The reason was based on what they say you're not supposed to have. It's because he was a male.
No. Okay. So you discriminated.
Well,
I'm going to go with you on that. You did.
so you're changing your mind now.
Because of what you're saying. Okay, now watch this right here. Watch this. That right there was based on a feeling, not a principle.
No. That was
Yeah. That
okay.
was based on your feeling towards the guy, not your principle towards
as
the
I
guy.
said,
It was your feeling towards the guy.
Okay, listen to what I'm saying. I realize that my feelings were involved, and that's why there's a problem. If I was okay, I'm not disagreeing with you. If I was basing it on principles, I would not have had a problem, and I would not have discriminated. My feelings got involved, and I wasn't strong enough to look at the principles, and that's why I discriminated.
Well, let me ask you this. If you had gone with principle and gone with the guy, would you have been satisfied to be massaged by a male?
The answer is no.
Bam. There you go.
There what go?
There you go.
There what go?
Your choice was based on your comfortability. You can call it prejudice if you want to. You can call it anything you want. But the bottom line is you're not comfortable with that. If you stack up all the reasons why you didn't do it, okay, and stop trying to harp on this principle thing to make a point, you look at A, it's not what you paid for. B, you told what you wanted. C, they gave you a guide. D, you're not comfortable with them. None of that has to do with prejudice.
It all has to do with prejudice. I was discriminating. No. The direct reason I did not want him is because he was a male.
No, the direct reason you didn't want him is because you're not comfortable with him.
Well, why wasn't I comfortable with him?
I don't know.
I just told you why. We cut to the chase.
Right.
The reason is because he was a male.
Okay, so you don't want a male massaging you.
Okay, well,
about that.
But that's discrimination.
You can call it anything you want. If you're not comfortable with it, you don't have to pay.
But I know.
You have to do it.
I'm not calling it what I want. I'm calling it what it is. That's what the dictionary said, unless we're not honoring the definition according to the dictionary.
I'm honoring the number 2 one. You're discriminating based on what's the difference between this and that. You want this, not that. I'm honoring the number 2 one. You're discriminating based on what's the difference between this and that. You want this, not that. I'm honoring the number 2 one. You're discriminating based on what's the difference between this and that. You want this, not that. That's what I'm basing mine. Okay? I mean, I see the point that you're trying to make, and you can justify that. If you feel that, you can justify that. But the bottom line is not that. The bottom line is you're not comfortable with that.
Okay. What I'm going to do...
That's the bottom line.
I know, but my comfortability probably should not be in play. I shouldn't let my feelings... Because of the principal fact that it would be discriminating. And I'm not comfortable. I'm not comfortable discriminating.
Here's the thing. You are a paying customer, and you've laid out your criteria, and it should be followed. Simple as that.
Okay. So we're going to stop on that one. I want to move on with, in regards to that conversation, we're just going to leave that right there. You don't feel it was discrimination. I do. And we're just going to stop right there because I get your point. You say you get mine. And
yeah, I do.
Let's be big dogs about it and just try to move on for the sake of time because I like to be on time. Okay. As it relates to me talking to the person that you heard, do you think I manipulated her into changing her mind or persuaded her? First of all, before you answer that,
it was probably a little bit of both. More persuasion than anything else.
Let me ask you this. Do you think there's a difference between manipulating and persuading?
Yeah, it's a thin line too.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Hold on.
Fine lines that we're dealing with.
Hold on a second. I need to ask these, and if you don't mind me asking yes or no's, you can explain as much as you need. But I have a few questions that are yes or no's first. Do you mind me asking yes or no's first?
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you a series of short questions. Do you think there's a difference between discriminating and persuading?
Wait a minute. Go back. Between what and what?
I'm not discriminating. You're right. Thank you.
That's okay.
Manipulating and persuading.
Yeah, that's the difference.
Are you sure there's a difference?
I'm 252,000% sure. I'm 252,000% sure. I'm 252,000% sure.
Okay, would you agree that there are some similarities?
Yes.
So the third question is, there is definitely a difference, some similarities, but definitely a difference.
Yes.
Okay, which one do you think is more associated with a positive connotation and a negative connotation? Which one would you say between...
Persuasion is positive, manipulation is definitely negative.
Okay, as it relates to that conversation, because she had one perspective in the beginning and she changed. The information that I was able to provide to her caused her to change her mind. And I provided her rock solid information that she had a choice to still be hard and say, no, I'm going to do what I want to do and I'm not going to go with you.
Right.
Or she decided that based on the principles that I presented, that she would understand my point. Do you think I manipulated her or persuaded her?
A little bit of manipulation, but more persuasion.
Okay, if you had to choose one, did I manipulate her or did I persuade her?
Well, based on the fact that it was more of one than the other, I'll go with the persuasion.
Okay. Cool. My question now is the difference between controlling a conversation and controlling a person as it relates to that conversation and in general. Do you think if you said I persuaded her in some sense, now first let me ask you the same question I asked you about those two. Is there a difference between controlling a conversation and controlling a person, yes or no?
How do you control a person? I'm not following that one.
Okay. You control a person by giving them no choice as to what they can say or do.
Okay.
Okay, now we're talking.
Definitely.
Okay, is there, and as it relates to not physically, is there a difference between controlling a conversation or controlling a person? Yes or no?
Yes.
There is definitely a difference. Are you 100% sure?
Yes.
Okay. Is there some similarities in controlling a person and controlling a conversation?
Again, yes.
Okay, fine. No, I just have to ask for a reason.
No.
But there's definitely a difference in controlling a person and controlling a conversation.
Yes.
Okay. Do you think that conversation that I had with her, did I control the conversation? Did I control her or both?
Both.
How did I control her?
There were times when she wanted to go off script or she wanted to add something that you wouldn't let her talk. You said, hey, well, hold on, we'll come back to that. I don't recall whether you did. In some instances you did, but in some instances you kept her on track with this one particular thought train that you had.
Okay, that's clearly controlling the conversation. Because if I'm staying on point, if we had a topic and she veers off, and I control the conversation by saying, hey, listen, let's don't talk about that. We need to stay on point. I didn't tell her what to say. I just reminded her.
No, you didn't tell her what to say. No.
So I did not control her.
Right.
I did definitely. I will agree that I controlled the conversation 100%. My question was, do you think I controlled her?
Well, I mean, to the point where.
Well, before you answer, before you explain, did I control her? Yes or no?
Okay, now to a see that's
well, you get to you can explain, but it is if you don't want to answer it, then of course don't answer it. But I ask a direct question.
It's going to be a yes or no, so I'm not going to answer in a yes or no fashion since I can't explain it. So.
No, I said you can explain it.
Oh, okay.
But what I want is I want my yes or no, and then you can explain because you either I did or I didn't. So
okay,
you can
say yes.
Okay, hold on. So I can keep it organized.
Right.
I agreed that I control the conversation. And you said there's a difference in controlling a person and controlling the conversation. So I agree that I definitely control the conversation, but you're also saying that I controlled her.
To a point, yes.
Okay, so
to a lesser extent.
So when you see, that's where you are now, and I need this for me. That's why I'm having this conversation, because when you answer with your explanation and the same answer, it confuses me. And I'm sorry, that's just a weakness that I have. So I'm asking you the same question. You understand the difference between controlling the conversation and controlling her. Did I
understand this? When you control a conversation to a certain point, then you are in also.
But that's not.
The person.
I didn't ask you that yet. You're going to get the opportunity to say all you need. I'm asking you a direct and specific question that I want a direct and specific answer for.
My bad.
Okay, so did I control her? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, now explain to me how I controlled her only, not the conversation.
Again, the one goes in hand with the other. When you drive, you don't just turn the steering wheel, you turn the steering wheel and match the gas and the brakes. When you drive, you don't just turn the steering wheel, you turn the steering wheel and match the gas and the brakes. When you drive, you don't just turn the steering wheel, you turn the steering wheel and match the gas and the brakes. You understand that?
I do.
Okay, well, that's the same thing here.
Well, I'm not debating whether or not they go hand in hand. I agree that there are some similarities. I even said that before I asked you the question. I first of all asked you if there was a difference, and you said there was a definite difference. Then I asked you if there were similarities. You said yes, there are similarities. So I agreed that I control the conversation because I have proof of that. I want you to tell me how I controlled her only, and don't mention anything regarding controlling the conversation. How did I
can't do that.
You can't?
I cannot do that. You don't want me to mention the conversation, so I can't tell you how I control her without telling you about the conversation. So next thing.
No. I don't mean not telling me about the conversation. What I'm saying is, don't tell me. What I'm asking you not to do is not to mention how I control the conversation. Is that what you're saying? You don't. You want to. If there is a difference, wait. Hold on a second.
No. Go back.
Wait. Let me ask you.
No. Go back. Yes, there's a difference, but they also go together.
Okay.
You can do both. You don't have to do one or the other. You can do both.
I get that. This is my question.
So,
I am not debating whether or not they go hand in hand. I'm not debating whether you can do both or not. I'm not saying.
What's the question?
I am going to give it to you in just a second. Hold on. I want you to explain to me, since you say I controlled her, I want you to tell me how I controlled her. Now, I already know that I control the conversation. So as you're explaining to me how I controlled her, if you cannot tell me about controlling the conversation, because I already know they go hand in hand, I know that they are similar. I just want you to tell me how I controlled her.
I can't.
Why?
Because it involves the conversation, and you don't want to hear that. So
I do. Well, okay, now I want to hear it, but I want to remind you that if you mention that the conversation that you're talking to, so let me just give you, okay, since you're saying you can't, I think that's unfortunate that you can accuse me of something, but then you can't tell me.
Okay, here it is. If you dominate the conversation past a certain point, then you are indeed controlling the person. Because they can't say or deviate from what it is that you're trying to say or do.
Okay, got your question. Did you notice any time that I interrupted her when when I interrupted her, did you notice that she was indeed going off topic and subject?
There were times.
Okay.
There were times when she was trying to explain, but you said, no, I don't explain, I'll explain later.
Okay, so Mike, when I interrupted her, did you notice the times, because I listened to the conversation like 8 times now, and I actually recorded. Each time I interrupted her, she was going off topic and off subject. Many times.
Remember now, you're the one that edits, and you're the one that's...
Well, listen, well then...
Your perspective.
Well, based on what...
Is it off topic or no?
Based on what you heard when I interrupted her that she was going off. She was once talking about, at one time, she had started to talk about disrespect. And I was saying to her,
she went off on a tangent for sure.
She went off on quite a few. And I'm saying to you,
but there were times when she did not go off topic, but you didn't let her finish.
So then, do you think?
Go back and listen to it.
I did. I've listened to it several times, and
again, with an open mind, and you'll see a couple. There were more. I'll put it like this: there are more times she was going off topic than she was staying on topic. There are more times she was going off topic than she was staying on topic. There are more times she was going off topic than she was staying on topic. Okay, but there were some times.
Which is why maybe you remember it more, because I had to bring her back into focus more times, and
you did that.
So I admit that I was dominating the conversation for two reasons, because I was trying to make a specific point and stay on task, and I was concerned about the time. And each time that she started talking about something that wasn't relevant, I admit that I interrupted her. I even apologized each time. I said to her, listen, I'm sorry. I don't want to be disrespectful to you, but you are going off topic. And each time if you listen to it again, you will hear it.
I agree with that.
Okay, so then that is why I'm saying I was dominating in the conversation. And had I not controlled the conversation, she would have taken up all the time and would have been talking about things that would not have been productive. I did not stop her when she stayed on point. And that I think,
Well, that's right.
So if I want to give you now an example, it's clear that I dominated the conversation, and I know I did. And it wasn't because I was being disrespectful or controlling her. My reason for dominating conversation is because she was going off topic, and I was trying to keep us from going off topic. Now, if I was telling her what specifically not to say and totally keeping her, because even after I finished, she had every opportunity to speak and talk. I didn't hold a gun to her head. I didn't threaten her in any kind of way. All I did was friendlily, if that's a word. I know. I friendlily reminded her that reminded her. Okay, so you still insist that I controlled her?
To a point, yes.
Well, I'm not looking for to a point. I either did or I didn't. I'm aware that there are some similarities, and I'm aware that I control the conversation, which they do go hand in hand. I'm trying to be cut and dry and specific. Did I?
Okay, yes.
Yes, what?
Yes, you did.
I controlled her.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. All right. So I'm going to ask you another question. So there's no doubt about it. I definitely manipulated and controlled her.
Next question.
You said that. Is that a yes?
I already said that. Answered that 3 times.
I know. So why are you?
Going out of time.
No, I'm not.
There you are. It's 10 minutes to 8. 5 minutes to 8. Okay.
So you are confirming that I
am confirming
that I controlled her.
Yes.
Okay. So this is I'm going to ask you a question, and I'm going to give you the answer to the question, but I want you to tell me. So I'm creating a scenario.
All right.
And I want you to answer based on how I ask you the question.
Okay.
If a man jumps off the top of the Empire State Building head first without a helmet or a mattress on the concrete, and he lands on his head on the concrete, do you believe that he can get up and walk away? Yes or no? I'll repeat it, and I do want a yes or no.
No, I heard you. I was waiting for the answer. No, he can't walk away.
So your answer is no. You don't believe he can walk away. So your answer is no.
No.
Okay. If I ask you that. If I ask you that question and I said to you that same question, and your answer just so happens to be it's possible, did you answer my direct question yes or no?
If you ask me that and you say, is it possible?
No, I didn't say no. I asked you, my question is, do you believe a man can jump off the Empire State Building head first and land on the concrete with no protection and get up and walk away? You said no.
Right.
I said if your answer had been it's possible instead of no, would you have answered my direct question yes or no?
No.
You would not have answered my direct question.
Because your question was.
That's
actually. The question was, can he walk away?
No.
Yeah, that would be an answer.
Hold on.
Be an answer.
Okay, slow down. You're confusing me by the extra, and I'm sorry, I'm a little slow. Yes or no?
I'm analyzing your question again in my head. Yes, that would be a direct answer. Sorry.
Okay, so let me just repeat it because now I'm confused because you said a lot of stuff.
Sorry.
Okay, if I ask you, do you believe a man could do that and get up and walk away? Your answer was no, right? So if I ask you and your answer had been it's possible, did you answer my direct question? Yes or no? Okay.
Yes,
okay, fine. Now, if I had, I'm going to ask you the same question again.
Okay.
It's going to be similar, but it's definitely going to be different. And I want you to tell me if it's the same question. It's going to be similar, but it's definitely going to be different. And I want you to tell me if it's the same question. It's going to be similar, but it's definitely going to be different. And I want you to tell me if it's the same question.
All right.
Okay, you remember the first question, right?
Yes.
Okay, here's the same question, but in a different way.
Okay.
Do you think it's possible that a man can jump off a head first on the Empire State Building, head first, and get up and walk away? Do you think it's possible that a man can jump off a head first on the Empire State Building, head first, and get up and walk away? Do you think it's possible that a man can jump off a head first on the Empire State Building, head first, and get up and walk away? And your answer is it's possible. You still answered my direct question. Yes or no?
Yes.
So what is the difference between those two questions?
Well, it's a matter of one was more persuasive. Do you think it's possible? And it's either they both ask for a conjecture on your part, but it seems like in a conversation, if I say, "Hey, man, is this possible?" It's more like I'm trying to lean on the positive side of an answer. Yes. You know what I'm saying?
So they are they different questions?
It's the same question in a different form.
So my question.
Tell you in court, redirect. I'm sorry, I'll rephrase the question.
Okay.
Same question, just the way.
So I'm asking you this, and this is a yes or no. You can explain later all you want.
Got it.
Are those? Did I ask you the exact same question? Yes or no?
It's the same question. Yes.
It's the same question.
Mm-hmm.
And you're sure of that?
Yep. It's a different. No, I want to explain. Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, no, go ahead and explain. I want to tell you how do you think it's
a different form of the same question.
Well, I agree with you. I said before I ask you, it's the same question. It's a similar question, but I'm saying I see it as a totally different question. You're saying it's the exact same question.
It's not exact, but it's the same question.
Well, that was my question to you. Is it exactly
the exact same question?
Yes.
No, it's not the exact same question. No.
Okay, tell me the difference in the two questions.
Okay. Will a man get up when he falls down? Yes or no? Is it possible? Okay, it adds a certain conjecture that you hadn't considered a yes or no answer before. It adds another element. Says yes he will, no he won't, and maybe he will.
Okay. So then I had two different questions. So your first answer, I asked, this was the question again. I'm just going to repeat it. Thanks for being patient with me. The question was, do you believe a man can get up after taking that kind of fall? And you said no. Right? Mm-hmm. Okay. And then I asked you if it was, and if I ask you that same question and you answered it, if it was possible, that you feel like you still answered my direct question. Mm-hmm. But I didn't ask you if it was possible. I asked you if you believed it.
Oh, if I believed it was possible. I'm sorry, I misunderstood you.
I know you misunderstood me, but I said it clearly.
That's a totally different question.
No, it was the same question. My question was, I repeated it 3 times. My first question was, do you believe a man can sustain that kind of fall and get up and walk away? You said no. And I said, if I ask you that question, your answer had been, is it possible? It's possible. You said that I answered your direct question by saying it's possible.
No. That wasn't my answer. You said it wasn't possible. I didn't answer whether it was possible.
No.
I'm sorry. You said if I said it was possible. It's the direct answer, yes, because that's a maybe. It's a direct answer. It's not
but if I had asked the question if it's possible, then that's a different question altogether.
Yes.
But I didn't ask you if it was possible.
Right.
So you answered a question.
The answer was it was possible.
Right, but that wasn't what I asked you. Do you agree that that's not what I asked you?
No. Okay, you said if I answered that way.
I know.
You didn't give me that choice the first time. You said
of
yes,
course
no.
I didn't.
That was possible.
I know, but I'm saying because I asked you and you said possible, my question is, did you answer my direct question?
If I had said possible.
If you had said no, I'm saying I'm giving you the scenario that you did. I'm just saying, I created 2 scenarios. I'm saying if you had answered it's possible.
So if I had, it would be a direct answer, yes.
Would it be an answer to my direct question? I know it's a direct answer.
Yeah, it's an answer to the question. It's a stupid answer.
No.
Answer.
It's an answer, but it's not the answer because I didn't ask you if it was possible. You told.
Right. No, you're right. Okay, I'm just going along with what you're saying.
No, I'm asking you to listen to what I'm saying. You're telling me a bunch of stuff that I didn't ask you.
Yeah, I didn't. If I didn't say yes or no, then that's not the answer to the direct. Well, hold on a minute, man. Hold on. The direct question was, is it possible? But with the stipulation of the yes or no, then maybe it's not in that realm. But if you just leave it open-ended without asking for a yes or no, then maybe it would be.
Listen. Mm-hmm. I want you to forget everything we said in the last 5 minutes, and I want to start over. It's important that I do this. I told you it was important. So I know what your answers were. I know what the questions were. I'm going to start over as if we never had this conversation. Okay? So just answer this question for me.
Yeah.
Do you believe a man can jump off the top of the Empire State Building head first and hit the concrete head first on the cement and get up and walk away? Yes or no?
Okay, see, that's the closed end. I get to answer one of 2 things. Okay, so I say no. Okay, see, that's the closed end. I get to answer one of 2 things. Okay, so I say no. Okay, see, that's the closed end. I get to answer one of 2 things. Okay, so I say no.
You see what you did to me just now? I want a yes or no. When you said all that stuff, you said you confused me.
No.
Okay, but I need to start from 0 again because you can explain.
Okay, so you need to record it. Go ahead.
No. I'm not recording again. I'm just asking you the same question again, and I want a yes or no from you for every time I answer the question. I promise I'll give you the opportunity to say anything and everything else if you need to. So my question to you is, do you believe a man can jump off the top of the Empire State Building head first and hit the concrete and get up and walk away? Do you believe that? Yes or no?
No.
Okay. If I ask you if you believe that and your answer was, it's possible, would you have answered my direct question? Yes or no?
In that case, no.
Don't say in that case because I didn't ask you in that case. See, every time you ask me that, I have to start over, and this is proving my point. See, now you're laughing, and it is funny. It's funny.
It is.
So I'm going to start over, and I know this is very redundant. If a man jumped off head first from the Empire State Building, hit his head on the concrete head first, do you believe he can get up and walk away?
No.
If I ask you that question, and your answer is, it's possible, would you have answered my direct question?
No.
If I ask you this question, is it possible that a man can jump off the head first of the Empire State Building and get up and walk away? Is that different from, do you believe that a man can get up and walk away? Are those two different questions? If I say, is it possible that a man can get up and walk away? Or do you believe a man can get up and walk away? Are those the same question or different questions?
That's a different question.
Okay. Do you realize that you said they were the same question the first time?
Yeah, because
I didn't ask you why yet.
Yes.
You believe? Do you realize that I asked you those same questions that you said no to first? You have a different answer now. You do realize that?
Differently.
Did I manipulate you, or did I prove to you different information? Did I?
You confused me into different information.
I confused you, so then that way I control you. So you're a weak-minded person? Are you a weak-minded person?
I must be, because I let you get away with that.
You let me get away with what?
I'll let you get away with that whole thing because you know me. I'll let you get away with that whole thing because you know me. I'll let you get away with that whole thing because you know me. Because when you first said, do you believe? And I say no. And you say, is it possible? Heck no, it ain't possible.
But my question, no, I never asked you if it was possible. I asked you if that was a different.
Said, do I believe? And I said that. Why would I say that?
Why would you say? I asked. Listen.
Why would I say it's possible? I wouldn't say that. You said that.
I didn't say you said it.
Yes, you did. You said if I asked you
if and you said it,
and you said it's possible, I would not say that. You said that.
I didn't say you would say it. I was creating a scenario to ask you if I wanted to.
Was not one that's gonna fly because I ain't gonna go with that one.
Okay, I wanted to know if you thought the questions were different. You clearly said they're the same question.
It's a different form of the same question.
Well, I said that
the questions are the same.
You still think?
I couldn't explain. I had to go with yes or no.
Wait.
The thing is, it's.
Wait, hold on. You still think, after all this, you still think those are the same questions?
It's a different form. Okay, when you say.
But I'm not. You can listen.
It's only the answer that's different. The question is the same. It's the same question, only different answer and different scenario. Question is the same. The question is this: can a guy survive a foul off the Empire State Building? That's the question. No mind the answer or what the belief is. That's the question.
And the answer is?
What do you think?
No.
Thank you.
Okay. If you had said it's possible, did you?
I did not.
I didn't say you did. I said if. Okay, not you. If the answer is it's possible, was that the answer to the direct question?
It is an answer, but
I didn't ask you. I didn't. Oh, hold on, dude. Don't do that. I didn't say was it an answer. It's actually a response. I didn't ask you.
The response is not direct because you.
Well, so the answer is no. So the answer is no. It's not an answer to the direct question, is what you're saying.
Because it's not a yes or no. It's an answer, but it's not the direct answer.
Well, I didn't ask you. I know it's not. It may be an answer. I'm not asking if it's an answer. It's actually a response. I didn't ask you what.
Answer, response, same thing. Yeah. But it's not,
no, an answer and response is not the same thing.
Okay.
And it's not the same thing. We don't have time to get into that. But I want to clear this up before we go. You still think that the question, those are two same questions. Do you believe a man can sustain, and is it possible? You think those are the same questions?
They're the same question.
My goodness.
You don't think that's the same question?
I know it's definitely not the same question. I don't have to think.
It's the same question.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, can a man or do you believe the man? Okay, when you say can a man do that, what am I answering you with? My belief. And my belief is no. So when you ask me is it my belief, it's still the same question. Because the answer yes or no, the first one, is based off of my belief. You understand? Whatever a person believes, that's how they answer the question. So when you ask them their belief, it's the same thing.
See, now, because we're out of time, I just want to close now.
Okay.
The reason I want to do this is because I am 100% sure that most people don't listen to what's actually going on or what's actually being said. Feelings and beliefs are overcrowding conversations. they're overcrowding the government, and principles are always the last to be considered. I believe that in these latter days, or my recent days, that I've had a different change of mind. I have a passion now to listen to people and listen to what's actually going on. I spent most of my childhood and all of my adulthood in my feelings, and I was disappointed quite a bit. What has happened to me over the past few years is I've disconnected from my feelings as it relates to principles, and I am trying to view situations from a principle standpoint, and I'm having trouble communicating with people because of that. And I'm having these conversations to draw them out so that I can go back and listen to them, so that I can hear exactly what I'm saying, exactly how a person is responding, to prove that a person is not listening to what I'm saying or what is being said or what is being presented in the conversation, but they are listening and responding with how they feel, what they believe, what they think. And I'm not asking a person, what do you think? I'm not asking you what you believe. I'm not asking you any of those questions. When I'm talking to a person trying to not be in my feelings, and that's why when you go to court, when the attorneys are interviewing people for jury, when they find that people have these certain beliefs and they have these certain perspectives, they don't believe that they can look at proof and facts and make a sound judgment because of their feelings and because of their beliefs. And I heard you say quite a few times, feelings matter, feelings do this, and feelings control everything. And as much as that is truth based on emotions, that is a different story when it comes to principles and facts that a person can present. So this conversation is a good conversation because you proved exactly that. I heard most of your responses to everything I asked you, although I presented proof and facts, including a definition from the dictionary, you still see it differently because you are being controlled by your feelings, your emotions, and
Stop. What you fail to realize is you distilled a big situation down into one small bit that was taken out of context and not viewed in the entirety of the whole situation. And feelings was exactly what you were operating on. And that's where you heard me talk about feelings.
I was definitely operating on feelings. I admitted that I was operating on feelings. I know. I admitted that I was operating on feelings. I even went so far as to say I was so much in my feelings that I had to go back and repent. I had to go back to the place and apologize. Right. I had to go back to the place.
What I'm saying to you is the only reason you hear me talk about feelings is because that was feelings. Now, nothing else we talked about had to do with feelings except that situation. So let's get the record straight on that.
Okay, back to my overall point. I am convinced that more people, including me, operate in their feelings, their thoughts, their beliefs.
Agreed.
Okay? And anytime I have a conversation, especially this one, your responses to everything that we talked about tonight are more based on feelings, beliefs, and emotions and not principles. And I was able to prove that by the way the conversation. Now, I'll have to go back and...
What are you talking about? The thing that you can set up a conversation to go a certain way and get a certain response to get the answer that you want.
So you're saying
not the overall.
I can, and what you're saying,
mood and feel based, what I'm thinking.
So what you're saying is I can control you, is what you're saying?
No, you can control the conversation and the narrative.
I guarantee that that's what I'm doing. I am controlling the conversation, absolutely. But I'm not controlling you. So
and I'm guaranteeing you that you're wrong on your summary and your conclusions. They're all wrong.
If you are insisting that those two questions I asked you last are the exact same question, then I'm not so sure that my conclusion is wrong.
Explain the difference. Explain the difference to me then, so we'll both know.
Okay. And I'm going to explain it based on your answer. I'm not going to explain it.
No. Just explain it based on what you believe. Don't tell me what I believe, because you know what I believe. You tell me what you believe.
Okay. The first question was, do you believe a man can sustain that fall and get up and walk away? The answer was no, because we are both intelligent and we know that that is very unlikely.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So that is a clear question.
Mm-hmm.
If I ask you that question and you said it's possible, you answered a question that I didn't.
I did not say that.
I said if,
See,
sir.
That's where this thing went off track.
I said if. No,
I would not say that.
Okay.
See, you understand? See, you're bending facts. You're not really being logical. There's no way on God's green earth that an intelligent person would answer that possible. Okay, so that's where this whole thing went sideways.
Fine, I agree with that, and I'm not saying you did say it. I can use if, and if you don't want me to use you, that's fine. But since we're talking, I want to make an analogy.
Why would someone say that? You can't make it. Okay, when you make analogies, you have to make analogies that make sense.
Okay,
that makes no sense.
I think that analogy makes perfectly good sense for the point that I'm trying to make.
Because the answer is ridiculous. You have to come up with something that has a correct answer at least.
Okay, well, I'm okay with that. My first question was that
Logical.
Okay, as I was explaining, you kind of interrupted me and I didn't get to finish. So
because you went off on something that I didn't agree with, and I wasn't going to let that fly.
Well, you're right. I agreed that I wasn't agreeing with it. When I said to you, if, I didn't say you said it. I'm using if just to make the point. I didn't get to make the point yet because you interrupted. So I know that you didn't say that. I'm not accusing you of saying it. So the question...
anyone say that? That's not a logical thing to say.
Okay, I'm not talking about whether it's logical. I'm trying to make a point, and you're interrupting me before I can make the point because you're so into whether or not someone would call it. I realize that I'm going far out. I'm overcompensating on purpose.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, so I need you to stay with me while I do this. It's an assignment. It's a project. I am being ridiculous just so that I can prove that you're not listening. You're in your feelings imagining. And I'm saying to you, the original question was, can a man sustain that fall? Your answer was no. And I said, let's not use you. I'll do it again. I said, if I asked that question and the answer was, if the answer was, just hear me out. If the answer was, it's possible, did that answer address the direct question? And before you answer, I didn't ask if it was possible. The answer was, it's possible. The answer did not address the direct question.
Why not?
Because I didn't ask if it was possible.
No, that's a response to the question.
Well, I'm not looking for a response. I'm looking for a direct answer to the direct question.
Okay, you want a direct answer. Okay, here's the thing.
But I've said that 900.
Here's where you're going off at. Okay, what are you calling a direct answer? The interpretation is indirect.
Anything that's specific. And I ask a
possible to specific.
Well, I didn't ask if it was possible though.
No. But you didn't ask. You didn't say there wasn't a possibility.
I didn't say that I didn't say it wasn't a possibility.
But what I'm saying to you is, you say, is it a direct answer? What is your interpretation of direct? And you say specific.
Specific.
Okay, well, it is specific.
Okay, so when I ask, so this is two different questions. You're saying they're the same question.
It's the same question. What is the basis of what you're asking? The basis is, can a person survive a fall from the top of the Empire State Building? No matter what all the embellishments are.
No. Exactly. That's the question. And the question. No. No, the question was, do you believe? And the answer was no. I asked that question at one point in time, and a person actually said, it's possible.
And you want to take that person and take them right downtown.
Okay, I'm going to leave that alone. That person wanted to confirm to me that they were a person who believed in the impossible because they were in their...
Take that person up there and drop them off their Empire State Building, go down and check see how they did.
Well, I didn't even get, for the sake of time, I didn't even get to tell you how the rest of the conversation went. But I am still trying to prove to you that those are two different questions.
Okay, in your mind, because you're not following what I'm saying.
Okay.
Okay, you're saying, okay, this and that and the other thing, but you are not listening to me.
So what I'm going to do is
let that marinate for a minute.
I'm going to give you the last word, and I'm going to let you explain to me how they are the same exact question.
The pretense of this whole conversation about these two questions is about the Empire State Building and surviving the fall. The only thing different about those two is A. The only thing different about those two is A. The only thing different about those two is A, the form of the question, and B, the answer. Otherwise, it's the same question, because in order to answer yes or no, it's answered based on your what? Belief. And you use belief 2 times without actually saying belief.
Okay. Well, sir, I definitely thank you for your time.
I enjoy talking to you. You know that, right?
I know. I enjoy it. We must do this again, because
we will.
This is one of the shows that will definitely make it. This conversation, for the sake of my point that I'm doing, and let me just explain in closing why I'm doing this. I have recently realized that I have what seems to be a problem communicating with people because of the way I think. This new way of thinking for me is creating problems for me. And I'm just, before I go sit on the couch with a shrink, or before I go up to the prayer line and get prayed for, I'm trying to do my own therapy by listening to what's actually being said and removing my thoughts, my feelings, my beliefs about it. Listening to what's being said. If a person can actually do that, I think we'll have less of this. And I am going to just go on record saying, I don't believe you listened to what was actually said and you didn't respond to what was actually said. You were really talking strongly about feelings and beliefs. Even just now, you said it's based on what a person believed. But I didn't ask the second time if a person believed it. I asked the question, and the answer was it was possible based on that person's belief. But I don't care about so much what a person believes is possible. I asked a direct question, and I did not get a direct answer when they said it's possible, because the question wasn't, is it possible? So
okay,
it's.
But then again, when you said believe, there you go again with direct answer. What's direct?
It's okay. I'm okay with your response to how you feel, but I'm not asking about how you feel.
Or how I think.
Or how you think. I'm asking about what is actually being presented, and you're not responding to what's being presented. You're responding
you said, I think a lot of times, like you say, communication. When I can give you a word, and then based on how you interpret the word, then you can determine whether or not something is accurate or not. And that word in this particular case is direct. You say, is it a direct answer? Now, what your interpretation is based on what I see, and I may be wrong, correct if I'm wrong. In this case, you call direct yes or no. Is that what we call direct?
Well, that's one form of. That's one form of direct. That's the one I would want.
What is possible? What kind of answer is that?
Well, that's
inference in relation to the question.
Well, is
it an answer to the question? I'm sorry.
It's an answer, but it's not the answer to the specific question. It is definitely because that wasn't what was asked.
Yeah, it was.
No, it wasn't. I didn't ask. I didn't ask.
Is it possible? You said, is it possible?
I didn't ask if it was. I didn't ask if it was possible. That wasn't my question.
That's right. You said, can you jump off and somebody said it's possible.
That's exactly.
But if the person that said it's possible, it's still a direct answer.
It's a direct answer, but it's not a direct answer to the direct question. The direct question was. Say it again.
Okay. Go ahead.
It's a direct answer if you say it is, but it's not an answer or a direct answer to the direct question, because I never asked the question, Is it possible that a person could survive that and walk away, get up from that and walk away? If I had asked it was possible and they said yes, it's possible, or just it's possible, then that would have been the direct answer.
Okay, it's a matter. This right here is a matter of your interpretation of what the response is to what it is that you're thinking or thinking along a particular line.
I'm not thinking.
A direct answer to your question is anything that would be relatable to that question. Now, if you say, can somebody survive a fall, and I say Mexico, that has nothing to do with it. Or if I say 65 and 81, that has nothing to do with it. But if I say possible, that is directly relating to the question that you asked. It is an answer. It's a stupid answer, but it's a direct answer.
It's relating to it, and I told you, similarities. I started this conversation by saying things are similar, but they're very different. That answer is it's related. You're right. It is related to it, but it wasn't what I asked. It's related.
It's an answer to the question.
It is an answer. I'm not looking for an answer.
I mean, you got different answers. You can say yes. You say no. You say maybe. You say possible. You can say what else besides yes, no, maybe?
Right, but would it be more fitting if I had asked if it was possible?
No.
Why wouldn't
because because that's an answer to the question. It's a legitimate answer to the question.
But I'm not looking for an answer. I'm looking for the answer to the question.
There's no the answer.
No.
The answer is no. That's the answer.
Okay.
The answer is no.
Okay, fine. So when someone said it's possible, they didn't answer my direct question. They just responded.
No, they answered the question. They're so stupid.
Well, I agree with that, but I'm saying they responded. They didn't answer the direct question.
Okay. But you know what's happening here?
What?
You're overthinking things. Okay,
I'm not. I don't.
Case of overthinking.
I don't have to think. This is cut and dry.
No. You're listening. You're listening for an answer. You're looking at this. You're analyzing that. And you are analyzing, even though you say you're not. And you're overthinking.
I agree
the whole situation.
that I am
you're
analyzing
it past what's necessary.
It's not complicated at all.
It is.
How?
Because you keep going back and forth with direct question, direct answer. It's an answer. It's a direct answer to a question. It is an answer. It is a direct answer. It's not the right one, but it's an answer.
Okay, but I'm not.
And you didn't say I want the correct answer. You say give me a direct answer. Okay, so what you call direct?
The direct answer is to answer what I specifically asked.
And they did. They said it's possible.
But I didn't ask if it was possible.
You didn't say no. You didn't say yes.
I didn't. You're right. So did they didn't.
Okay.
But I am saying that they didn't answer my question. You're insisting that they did.
When there's a question, an open-ended question like that, there are 3 possibilities.
Well, I'm not debating that. I agree. But I didn't.
They chose one of the 3 answers. It's a direct answer.
Well, it is a direct answer, but that wasn't the answer to the direct question. I agree.
It is.
Okay. I'm going to, again, try to let it go at that. But
you are overthinking, my friend.
I will agree.
To the point where you start splitting hairs, and it comes to a point that it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Okay. Well, I want you to tell that to the guy who's performing heart surgery on you. If he's not, you don't want him to be precise and
I didn't say not be precise. I say when you're splitting hairs, that's not a matter of being precise. That's a matter of just being really overcomplicated.
Well, I can understand how you would think that, and I respect it. I really do. But the point still is, I got an answer. I got a direct answer, but I did not get an answer to the direct question.
Okay. All right. I'm going to let that go.
All right, man. Thank you so much. I love you, bro.
Hey,
I do.
I like a brother. You know that.
I know. I wouldn't take nothing for you. I swear to God, I wouldn't. I wouldn't take nothing less than 10 million from you. I wouldn't.
All right, dude.
All right, we'll talk, man. Have a good night. I'll send you this when I finish with it.
Okay, then.
10-4.
All right.